Still flex some paper to impress a stranger. I'll check you later, bruzzy. I just do my thing. All these people fake the funk, trying to make a buck. Save it, cuz, because I just do my thing. You think you're hard, but you come off like a massive ass. I just kick back and laugh. I just do my thing. So don't fake the funk, son, trying to make a buck. Nah, shake it out, buddy. I just do my thing.
Perfect.
Lachy Hamill, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, man?
Yeah.
Good to be here.
It's good. It's good to have you here. I'm good, man. I'm good. You were here like just what, a couple days ago?
Yeah, it was. When I'm back again, I just can't get enough out.
yeah. I want to kick it off by talking about Apple Lifestyle, bro. Do you want to talk us a little bit about the inspiration behind it, just your thoughts on it, and just anything that comes to mind with Apple Lifestyle, and tell people, I guess, what it is too.
Yeah, so that was an album that I released late last year with the help of pretty much everyone in Tassie. It was really big. It was like a production album, so I made all the beats and recorded and mixed the whole thing, and I've got 60 artists from Tassie on there, so 50 rappers, which is a pretty good portion of the rappers in Tasmania. I couldn't get all of them, but it's more or less everyone I could get on there. Then I've got I think 4 different DJs on there doing cuts and stuff, which was sick. It's like a real old school, like golden era boom bap sort of vibe on there. Oh, having said that though, there is a lot of different flavors on there. There's some kind of grime influences and a bit of trappy sort of stuff, and yeah, some big drill-esque 808 slides. But anyway, we've got 4 DJs on there, got some singers, got some sax players and keyboard players. So yeah, it's a big ass album, and it took a long time. It took like 2 years to put together fully.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that, bro.
Yeah, it was
2
a
years.
big process.
Wow.
It ended up taking way longer than I intended it to, because I was talking to, it was around when Posy Shop released, I think maybe it was PS3 or something, Posy Shop 3. I could be wrong about the title, but and we were listening, me and Grilly were listening to that and thinking, this is so sick, and like how hard it reps Melbourne.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and it's just a big showcase. They had heaps of features on there, and it was like a real showcase and celebration of Melbourne hip hop.
Yeah.
And we're like, fuck, wouldn't that be sick to just like put something like that out for Tassie? Because we hadn't been too much of that kind of, like, we've done like the THC mixtapes and stuff, but that's completely different. That's just people sending in tracks, and you know what I mean? Like, you know, it wasn't on the same sort of level. So we're like, yeah, let's give that a crack.
Yeah.
And let's try to make that big Tasmanian production album that really showcases as much of Tassie hip hop as we can.
Yeah.
So that was like, I think it was mid 2021 maybe, and I was like, we can probably finish this by Christmas. And it didn't really turn out that way.
Yeah.
And I was
by
like,
Christmas 2 years later.
yeah, pretty much, man. The hardest part was wrangling that many rappers, you know? That's a lot of rappers to wrangle.
Yeah. Organisation skills is not usually the best amongst rappers, right?
Nah, it's not. But it turned out sick. Like, I'm stoked with it. I really couldn't be happier with how it turned out.
It's really good, bro. And what it did is, like, I remember you were just saying as well, like, you wanted to showcase and rep Tassie hard. When I checked it out, I was like, how the fuck are there so many amazing rappers in Tassie that I've never heard about?
Yeah, straight up, man. There's so many that haven't put out much music, but are just that talented.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of like, it's funny, like, growing up, I always thought, like, man, like, my homies are just like the best rappers in the world that I've ever heard. What a coincidence that the best rapper in the world's just like my mate from Launceston. That's hectic. And as I like grew up and then moved to Hobart and was like, wow, there's rappers here that are the best rappers in the world. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
It kind of like gave me a bit of a new perspective, and I was like, man, there really is so much, just so many hidden gems and like untapped talent, and you know what I mean? Like, undiscovered talent that, for whatever reason, that just isn't out there. And I think, like, that was another big motivation for Apple. I wanted to, like, give them a bit of a platform. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So growing up in Tassie, you know, you were looking up to your mate and the other rappers in Hobart. Like, what was the scene like when you were growing up there?
It was actually really good, man. Like, it was small, and yeah. But the big introduction to the hip-hop scene in Tasmania for me was battle rap, really. Like, back in, it would have been 2014, and that was just sort of the tail end of it as well. Like, there was this little. I grew up in Launceston, which was a town up north from Hobart, and there was a local battle league there called Launceston Battle League, started by a fella called Chip, which was that was really cool, and that was a really cool like cultural hub for hip hop. Really, like everyone would sort of meet up every. I don't know how regularly they were, every couple of months maybe, and would have these like, rap battle events, and people would battle and stuff, and that was pretty much the scene, you know. That was pretty much the Launceston hip hop scene, and so I met pretty much all of the scene, all of the hip hop scene through that when I was about 14. And
That's a good age.
Yeah, it was early, and it was lucky that I was able to meet It was also through my mate Malachi, actually, who as well kind of got me into the battle scene.
Okay,
because I knew him, and he rapped, and he was a bit older than me, and he sort of like got me my first battle there and sort of introduced me to everyone. Yeah, that was really cool. And then from there, I came to Hobart. I started coming to Hobart for battling, and that's where I first met Dunners and Grills and everyone in the Hobart hip hop scene.
Did you know about them and their legacy before you met them?
Yeah, I definitely did. Yeah, I knew about. Yeah, I definitely did like a lot of research on local Tassie hip hop. I was very into it. I'm very into Aussie hip hop, or hip hop really. But yeah, I was like, yeah, who in my state is doing hip hop? And let me find out all of them and all about all of them. And yeah, it was really cool the first time I met them. It was a bit surreal because you just see these people online so much, and meeting them, it's like, whoa, that's hectic.
Like they're actually a real person.
Yeah, they're a real person. They're not just made of pixels. They're made of flesh.
So where did it go from there, bro? So you get introduced into the battle scene. You had your first battle.
Yeah.
And when did the production start? Because that's something that's like, I would say, at least from my perspective as well, like a massive part of who you are.
Yeah, definitely, man. Well, honestly, that's predated the battle stuff, really. I've probably been producing. Because I started off rapping, like I wanted to be Eminem when I was like, 11 or 12 years old. And I was like, oh man, I really want to like make songs, but I don't really know where to get beats or like how to record or who can record me. So, and there wasn't really many people doing that in Launceston either. There was like one fella called Deej who ran Second Room Studios he had a studio there, but there wasn't really many other people. And I was just a little kid, so, I wasn't going to hit these people up. But so I sort of just started teaching myself how to make beats, and I had a little cracked version of FL Studio, and I had this like old dodgy laptop, and I'd like bend the laptop down so the webcam mic was close to my face, and I think I'd even like hang a tissue over it as my little pop filter, and I'd like rap into the webcam mic and then like try to mix it all in.
What
FL.
was the quality like?
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Did the tissue make a difference?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably you could just hear a tissue flapping around. Like, that was the only thing. But that was sort of, I was probably like, around 12 or 13 when I started doing that and just making my own. But even from like that age, I was always very focused on making full projects. Like I wanted to make EPs and albums because I've always really liked that whole process of like making the whole thing and making every individual track and then sequencing them and the flow of the album and doing everything like that I really enjoy. So luckily all those albums are gone now because they were like terrible,
It's interesting. I can imagine, I wish I could say that I know the feeling, but I can imagine the feeling of creating a complete song out of literally nothing.
Yeah,
you know what
cool.
I mean?
It is very
like
cool.
Doing the whole process yourself. I can only imagine it would be amazing.
Yeah, I guess it's quite an empowering feeling, because there is like, I guess it can feel a bit overwhelming for a new artist, and it feels like it's a bit hard to get into, or the barrier to entry is very high if you don't know if you don't know producers, or you don't know any engineers or anything, or you don't have anyone to teach you song structure. Although I think with hip hop, most of us didn't really. Most of us sort of just had to figure that shit out.
And a lot of it's feel. Like I know, like there's a lot of rappers that I know that don't even know what time signatures are or what what tempos are, but they just like fucking like they just know this shit.
Yeah,
inside
and counting bars too. Like a lot of people, so many rappers, even like really experienced and really really fucking talented rappers, still don't really know how to count bars or like what a 16-bar verse really is.
It's just all a feel.
Yeah, it is. And, fair play to them. It sounds good and it's sick and it connects with people and satisfies you, then sweet.
Yeah. Well, sometimes understanding the theory too much, I feel like takes away from the artistic aspect of it.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't know.
probably not so much with producing, but I think like with rapping, there's some people I've seen that are like real rap like scientists or nerds.
Yeah.
You know, and they just study all of the techniques and this and that, and then when they make a song, they're just trying to like overload.
Yeah,
the
that's
techniques, you know
true.
what I mean?
There's definitely like I think there's like a point, you know, and it's with the same thing. I think it's like with that, with writing and with rap, and it's also I think a little bit with music theory more broadly. It's a little bit of knowledge can be dangerous because you start to feel like, you know, these are the rules that are constraining you, and you can't do anything because the rules I know say this. But the more you learn, the more it kind of opens your world up a lot more, and you realize, oh no, you kind of still can do anything. It's just, I think with theory and with with any kind of theory, it's just a way to understand and explain something. It's not necessarily saying what you should do.
Yeah.
It's saying, it's like a descriptive thing rather than a prescriptive thing. You know what I mean?
That's cool. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, it's a way to understand what someone's done rather than, you know, a rule that you have to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were in the scene, when you met Greeley, when you met Dundee, and everyone else that you met there, what do you think allowed you to be able to build good relationships with them? Like, what kind of approach did you take in getting to know these guys?
I don't know. I guess it's just being quite genuine and like, you know, pretty passionate about, or very passionate about what I do. And these guys are all very passionate about what they do, you know, and that's a real good point of connection and a point of bonding, you know. And I don't know, I don't know if there's necessarily a strategy, you know what I mean? It's kind of just like,
well, I think that's probably why it worked, bro.
Probably, yeah.
You know,
and
like
it's more a genuine sort of connection and friendship, I guess, with people. It helps, I think, to not necessarily going to meeting people or like building relationships with people with the expectation that like this is for career advancement. You know what I mean? Like or anything like that. Like obviously networking and meeting people is the best thing you can possibly do for your career advancement, but I think it really helps if it's just based on genuine
100%,
you know, connections with people. And now that's like, now all my friends, all of them, maybe like bar a couple, are all just hip-hop music friends, you know what I mean? At what point did you lose touch with the friends that weren't into that? Like, you were 14 when you started getting into the battle scene. Did you just quickly just forget about them and obsess over this stuff, or? I don't know. I guess like over time it's sort of, it just sort of naturally became how it is. And once I sort of left high school and stuff, and all my time pretty much, especially like running my studio and doing that for work, it's all the only people I'd see really were music people, you know what I mean? So it kind of just naturally ended up like that.
So you had your own studio, recording studio?
Yeah, in Hobart, That was like, my full-time thing for the last couple of years. And it was, very busy, just recording and mixing people flat out, and producing, and videos as well were a massive part of what I've done. Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. You're doing the whole package aside from the rapping. For their songs. That's sick, man. That's good.
It's I think with trying to like survive off doing creative things professionally, it really helps to be as diverse as you can. Right. At least for me. Like that's what I've found. It helps to be able to just do a lot of things.
Is that something that you're planning on doing in Melbourne as well? Yeah,
for sure. Well, when I was in Tassie, I think recording and mixing was a big part of what I did. But I think now I really want to focus more on production and making beats and videos and shooting videos and all that kind of stuff. Because I think, I don't know, it's just nice to switch it up a little bit. And I feel like I've done so much recording and mixing. And I mean, I've done a lot of production too, but that's sort of where I think, it's where my heart is a bit more.
Okay, Does that change over time, or is that, you reckon that is where your passion kind of really...
I have thought about this a bit, and I think at heart, more than anything, I am a producer. And in that, I'm always doing whatever I'm doing in service of like the end product, you know what I mean? Even with rap, like I love rap, and I'm definitely a rapper too, and that's what I love doing as well. But I don't really just often write bars for the sake of writing bars, you know what I mean? It's always with the song in mind and with the whole production, and you know what I mean? Like I want to make the song and produce the whole thing.
I find that actually concept really interesting because it's cool. You can talk to a lot of different people and you get a lot of different takes on like when you're listening to a song or even when you're creating a song, like what are you mostly thinking about? And I chat to producers, and when they're listening to a song, they're listening for the hi-hats, they're listening for what kind of drum I don't think I've ever listened to that. You know what I mean? Like I'll obviously listen to the beat as a whole, but I'll never really pick it apart, you know what I mean? So you kind of listen to the whole thing when you first listen to a song?
That's interesting. I don't know. I guess I kind of do. I do sort of pick it apart as well. But honestly, like the thing that I listen to most, and this has been like a thing that I've realized over time, because I have been a massive rap nerd who's always like, structure, rhyme schemes, multis, this, you know what I mean? And the same thing with production too. I always seem to like tell myself that this is important to me, but really the thing that is important to me mostly, and I think for most people, if they're honest, is just the vibe of the song, you know what I mean? Like you're listening to the vibe, that's what you're, the whole sound and the emotional impact and how it makes you feel. That is sort of the most important thing about a song, I think.
I think that's a very key part, bro. And I think a lot of people overlook that. That's something I've been thinking about lately is, a lot of these artists, like if I don't know if you know Teddy Andreas, right? But he's a, you do know. A lot of people here don't know him, bro. That's cool to meet someone else that knows him.
He's pretty underground, but I really like Teddy Andreas.
He's sick, bro. He's fucking so good. I love his music. But the one thing that I noticed about him is he's got such a consistent feeling.
Yeah, he does.
You put on his music, I know I'm going to feel that way while I've got his music on shuffle. And that's why I go to him.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, and honestly, like, a lot of the rappers that I'd say are the best rappers, if I were to be asked, aren't necessarily the rappers that I always listen to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've got like I guess I have an aesthetic that I like, that I listen to a lot. That it's interesting, hey.
What is that aesthetic like? What do you listen to most of the time?
For me personally, I really like gritty underground sort of boom bap stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a lot of different things, but like that's a lot of my roots where I come from. What I really like and connect with is that, like, a lot of it's from Melbourne too, like that underground Melbourne sort of boom bap stuff.
Yeah.
I really love that shit. But I mean, it is quite. I guess it is pretty diverse too. But that's where my roots are.
Yeah. What do you think about a lot of the artists in Australia that make music? Sorry, a lot of the hip hop artists in Australia that make music. Do you think that they're often making music for other people in the scene? Like, I feel like lately I've been chatting with a few people about the idea that I think we were even talking about it the other day.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to just be pushing their music to other people in the scene.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that is probably a thing, hey? Making music to appeal to other rappers, and then, you know, you go to a gig and it's all just other rappers, you know? Yeah. That is the thing. And it's also, I guess, a product of being so, like, tunnel vision and insular with, if you're so obsessed with rap and all you know are other rappers and you just listen to rap, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna kind of end up being like that. I think it's probably a good idea, especially if you plan on like reaching a larger audience, to try to break out of that a little bit. But
and it's the people you respect as well, right? Because it's like, you know, I was chatting with Eric the other day. It might have even been when we were here, and he was saying that it's more valuable to him to get respect from someone he looks up to out of a song than it is to make money or appeal to like 10,000 ordinary people, you know?
Yeah, it's true, man. Like the compliments and props you get from people you really look up to do mean a lot more. Yeah, I've definitely found that too. Yeah, it does mean a lot more.
It's mental, right? Because, you know, whoever it is that you're picturing in your mind, this is someone that's been doing this for their whole life, that's been through so much, that's seen so many people do this shit, and they decided to say to you that they really like what you're doing. And it's like, how the fuck, like, it's a massive spin out.
Yeah, and also, like, if they're the people that influenced and inspired you to want to do it in the beginning, and now they're giving you props, you know, it's very validating. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's actually an interesting point. It's very validating. Do you think a lot of the desire for making good music, or even just being really good at anything, comes from a lack of feeling validated?
It's interesting, that point. And I think when I was here with Eric, he said a similar thing. And I've thought this exact same thing as well. Like, if it... I don't want to put words in his mouth, but this is me saying it. If it was like all 100% just for you, I could probably just be satisfied to sit around and be like, yeah, I can make a dope song if I wanted to, but it can't be fast. You know what I mean? Like, but if it's kind of like I've got something, I feel like I've got something to prove, or I need to prove it to someone, or you know what I mean? So that's kind of like a bit of the drive. Like, I need to really prove that I actually can make a dope song.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because if you were to answer, or not just you, but if someone was to answer no to that question, they don't think that there's a lack of validation, and then you ask them, okay, make your music and never show anyone.
Yeah.
Would anyone do that?
A lot of people do.
You think a lot of people do?
A lot of people do.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, also that's like fair enough. Like, if you want to just make your music for yourself, and you know, it depends really. Yeah, there's a lot of different reasons to want to make music, but some people do just make it as some kind of catharsis, or like, some kind of, they're in therapy, and they just, they really do it for themselves. But
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would, you know, also that could really benefit other people to hear it.
Yeah, definitely. That's the other question I was thinking is, why do you think they are keeping it to themselves? Is it because it could be the fact that they don't feel the need to? It could also be that they have a fear of failure or rejection. You know what I mean? It could be a lot of things, really.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just an insecurity or a lack of confidence, or also just not really knowing how to put it out and show people.
Yeah.
Because it's quite a hard thing to do, man. Like, they're separate skills, really. Like, people who are very, very creative and very skilled in that domain aren't necessarily that good at the whole promotion and the look at me and the business side of things. You know what I mean? Honestly, it seems like, if anything, they're in some ways a little bit mutually exclusive. You know what I mean? Like, the more creative you are, a lot of the time it tends to be people who are a little bit more introverted, and people who are a little bit self-critical and self-analytical, and they really struggle to advocate for themselves, you know, as much as you really need to. Like, you really need to, like, shamelessly self-promote and back yourself, and it's quite hard to do that.
Yeah, that's interesting, backing yourself. That concept of backing yourself and believing in yourself, because that's not something that's really encouraged here in Australia.
Yeah, true.
Was there a lot of tall poppy syndrome in Tassie growing up?
Yeah, there definitely is. I think there is probably everywhere in Australia, but yeah, there definitely is in Tasmania as well. But now I think now that it's becoming less a thing, that people are quite supportive in Tasmania. They're very supportive.
That's good. Like, even just in hip hop or overall?
I mean, overall, that's really good. But particularly, I think we've got a really good hip hop scene. Yeah. But the music scene as a whole, I think, is quite good.
Nice.
The thing that does hold it back is just I think I was talking about this the other day too. It's just a lot smaller, and there are limited opportunities for gigs and all that, you know.
And hence you moving to Melbourne, right?
Yeah. Well, that is one of the reasons. I mean, Melbourne is also just like, people are kind of just on another level, and there's always things happening, and it's, as far as like just this live stage show and the freestyling and everything like that, everything's just like, you know, I feel like it's an inspiring place to be, and it's really, like, it's going to really sharpen your sword. You know?
That's the other thing, is like, having that competition around you really drives you to be on your A game.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And there's just a lot, I feel like, over the last few years, I've really done a lot in Tassie, and I'm just keen to expand the pool a little bit and start, you know, building outside of Tassie a little bit. And I've got a lot of love. I was born in Melbourne. I've got a lot of family over here, a lot of connections over here. I've built a lot of relationships with artists and you know, a lot of producers and engineers, and I feel like there's just a lot to learn over here. Yeah.
So you're looking to advance, like, your producing and stuff like that?
Yeah, man. Looking to advance everything.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You seem determined, bro. I've spoken to you a few times since you've been here, and we've kind of talked about, you being in Melbourne, and it seems like you're just ready to, not that you haven't been doing nothing but this, but it seems like you're just ready to just take advantage of every opportunity that's here.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know how long I'm going to be here for, so I want to make the time that I'm here just count as much as I can.
That's interesting. So you're not planning on staying for too long?
Yeah, well, The place I'm living in, I've only got that for about 5 or 6 months, and then after that, I don't know what I'll do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you might end up back in Tassie.
I might, yeah. Well, eventually I want to end up back in Tassie for sure. I just don't know at what point. Yeah. But I think that's the end goal. I love Tassie. Yeah, it's definitely home.
Another thing I wanted to ask you as well is recently Spaniel went to Tassie, right?
Yeah.
And a whole lot of shit happened, right?
Yeah, it
From
did.
my understanding, the potentially, allegedly, or whatever, cop cars may have gotten smashed, and police may have gotten hurt. How accurately does that represent those areas of Tasmania when Spanian's not coming and filming a vlog?
I mean, they definitely turns it up a bit for him, I think. But you know, I'm not from those particular areas. I didn't really grow up there, so it's hard to really speculate. I grew up in Launceston, north.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it is definitely like that to a certain extent in these areas. But yeah, I mean, it's Spanian being there, I think, definitely excited people a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, as it would. But yeah, it is quite unfortunate that shit popped off as much as it did.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's another one of those things because, you know, like Spanian got arrested, right? Which could be perceived as a bad thing. And there's definitely going to be all these bad press coming out about Spanian. The news are going to be saying rapper, because, you know, when he was in Queensland, they said the same thing, like rapper, even though he doesn't rap anymore. They call him a rapper because...
Convict rapper, that's
convict rapper, there you go.
Pulse in Hobart, a news outlet, called him a convict rapper.
Convict rapper. He hasn't done either of those two things for ages.
Yeah,
you know, he's trying to help and shine a light on some traumatized and troubled communities all across the world. Yeah. But they don't want to mention that in the news article. It's not clickbaity enough.
Yeah.
But all those, it doesn't matter though, because all that bad press, it's just gonna shine more light on his channel anyway.
That's been his whole marketing strategy forever, really. Yeah. I don't know if it's intentional or not. Actually, no, I think it was. I think... Have you read his book?
No.
It's really interesting.
You've read his book?
Yeah. But he does talk about that. Like, in the early days where he made all those, like, Hood Logic or something like that, where he's talking about, like, how to, like, snatch handbags and how to knock people out with bricks and all this sort of shit. And, like, he's like, yeah, I knew doing this would, like, really ruffle some feathers and piss people off, and it would be very controversial, but I was doing that so I could get a bigger platform to then talk about what I want to talk about and do this and that. So it's kind of always been his strategy a little bit, you know, being the kind of the anti-hero. Yeah. But
it's strange because people are drawn to that, you know, like no matter how hard you try, if you make something that's equally good quality as something... if you make something good that's equally good quality as something bad, for some reason people seem to be drawn to the more negative things.
Yeah, people are drawn to that sort of darkness. I mean, that's why, like, horror movies and true crime stories and everything is so popular, I suppose. There's just something about the human psyche that it's a bit drawn to that. I wonder what, I don't know. I'm not qualified to say.
Do you, if you were to speculate, do you think it comes from, like, people that have been hurt? Do you think it comes from that kind of thing where you've experienced all this negativity, that's why we're drawn to it? Or, like, do you think the people that have had a good and happy life are also drawn to that stuff?
I think they are as well, yeah. I think a lot of it probably comes down to these are sort of, like, facets of life and emotions and stuff that aren't normally expressed or made very public, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of this stuff, you don't see it very often. It's not really socially acceptable or encouraged, and so that kind of comes with it a bit of an allure. You know, it's like the allure of the taboo, you know what I mean? Like, and we kind of want to, it's a bit interesting.
There's something exciting about doing something wrong.
Fully. Yes, I think that's probably an element of it as well. Yeah, and it's just, to a lot of people, like, there's people that kind of relate to it, but there's also people who don't relate to it at all and find it fascinating and find it, like, you know, find that an appeal as well. Yeah.
Is there any particular artist that you want to shine a light on in Tassie? Maybe I shouldn't have asked that. Maybe there's going to be too many and you're going to be worried about forgetting some, but...
Yeah, there's a bunch. I think in particular, there's my homie Hermit Kovacic, who's got an EP that is about to... I've produced it actually, and he's about to release it on vinyl, and that I'm really, really stoked with that. He's a great rapper, so definitely him. Check out Hermit Kovacic. And Grace Chia is also an amazing artist who's been going really hard. She's definitely worth checking out as well.
Sick.
Yeah, and my mate Kiz as well, also a great rapper, is working on an EP. And Clara Vizzy as well, is working on some stuff. Yeah.
Behind the cameras over there.
Yeah. So there's a bunch, man, of really talented rappers. Everyone in Tassie, like, I mean, not everyone, but like, there's so many really, really talented, skillful rappers who make really, really good music. But I think the thing that sort of separates, that kind of make me more inclined to mention them now is the people who are really pushing, you know what I mean? And like really taking it seriously and working hard on, striving to level things up and get music out. Yeah, but I think probably those four in general are really good. There's a bunch of really good up-and-comers as well. Like a fella called Rude Boy, he's really talented. He's going to go far, I think. But yeah, I mean, I'm just going to miss people out.
What do you think? What do you think it takes? Like, so you mentioned, people that are really working towards this stuff. What do you think it takes to be someone that really has a chance at having a career in music?
Oh, man, there's a lot of things outside your control, but a lot of things within your control too. I think persistence, really, and the ability to reflect on what you're doing and assess what's working and what's not, and change things that aren't working and refine your approach. And really just persistence, I think, is the biggest thing.
Yep.
Because
persistence, but I hadn't thought about it before, but you saying that makes me think about it. Persistence is definitely up there, but that self-critical mindset has to be up there with it, because there are some people that are too delusional.
Yeah.
They are so persistent.
Yeah.
But they never get better because they think they're the best.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. So,
are there any of those that you want to shout out from Tassie?
Oh, there's a bunch of those, but I won't shout them out. But yeah, man, it's definitely a thing. That's the tricky balance to strike as an artist too, because you do have to have some of that self-critique and that, be a bit critical and analytical, but you can't let it get in the way of you ever doing anything. You know what I mean?
Well, you still have to be delusional enough to think that you could actually do it.
Yeah.
Because it's a crazy thing to try and do.
It is.
It is possible.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy thing to try and do.
Yeah.
And most people that think, I'm going to do this, it doesn't work out. But I feel like that persistence is a big one, because there's a lot of people I've met since, exploring the scene and meeting people and this and that. And like you said, out of all these amazing rappers in Tassie, there's only a handful that are really putting in the work and the persistence that's required. And that's definitely been my experience as well. You meet a lot of really talented artists that, if they actually dedicated themselves to it properly, they actually might have a shot. But properly is the key. People think they're working, people think they're doing it, but it has to be like, you said yourself, and it's mostly because you love it, but it's like all day, every day for you, right?
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but...
sometimes I watch Netflix and
fuck
around and slack off, I guess.
Yeah.
But it is, you do just have to be very persistent and work very hard and give it your all. Yeah, I don't know. I guess some people blow up off minimal effort, but it's you cannot count on that. You know what I mean? You cannot count on that at all. And also, all the factors that contribute to your success that are outside of your control aren't really worth even thinking about, because they're outside of your control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Focus on the things that are within your control.
Bro, I fucking made a video on that this morning, right?
Really?
Because I made a video talking about people... Wait, what was it? I made a video talking about... Fuck, what was I actually talking about? Shit. I can't believe I started talking about this video. But anyway, I'm thinking of one of the comments, and one guy... Oh yeah, I was talking about videos, posting videos on Instagram. If your videos aren't performing well, there's something missing. The algorithm doesn't hate you. You're not fucking shadow banned. You're not fucking... You know what I mean? There's a lot of rappers out there. A lot of them are making good quality shit. So it's not enough to just make good quality shit and drop it and expect for it to go crazy, because there's a lot of people doing that. You got to be outstanding. You got to stand out amongst everyone. And I was talking in the video and saying that kind of stuff, and someone commented saying, "Oh, but the Instagram's changing their algorithm. They're doing this, they're doing that," and it's exactly what you're saying. That's out of your control. I don't know whether they're doing that or
Yeah,
not. Maybe
yeah,
they
sure.
are. Of course, they want to make money. They're a business. They're going to try and get people to pay for ads. But you can't fucking change that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't focus on that. Stop pointing at that and being like, well, that's why I can't do what I want to do. No, fuck that. You got to find a way.
A lot of people just look for excuses and
100%.
ways to let themselves off the hook.
Yeah.
You know? It may be that the Instagram algorithm's conspiring to personally fuck you over, but like, what are you gonna do about it? You may as well just still work and push and do the things you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%, bro. 100%. Is there any parting message that you want to leave to the people? Any upcoming shows, albums, music, anything you want to say?
THC, Tassie Hip Hop, get around it.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I think Dundee's got an album dropping very soon. I think he's announced that. So, get around that when it drops. That's going to be a game changer. Everyone who's doing their shit, keep doing your shit. Get around it. Yeah.
Fucking oath. Thanks so much for coming on, bro.
No worries, bro.
Welcome anytime, man.
Thanks, man. It's good fun.
Yeah.
Good fun.
Much love.
Fuck yeah.
Peace.
Peace.